My bro didn't just get clapped, he got spiritually folded by this one bitch. She pulled up with her whole squad of jerks who raided him and gangbanged him so hard, he went from god tier Giga Chad to tutorial level noob. The craziest part is that he fell for it. Man got baited harder than a Minecraft noob digging straight down, hitting lava, and crying in chat like, who put that there? After watching his aura drop into negative numbers, he decides on one goal. He will speedrun dungeons like they owe him rent, just to eventually fist deliver divine justice directly into the booty hole of the bitch who folded him. Yeah, he just wants to clap the cheeks of the one who deleted him. And for this holy mission, he doesn't choose any normal dark mage shit. He picks every emo MC's starter pack, which is Necromancer. Oh, my bad, Necromancer. But here's where the plot goes full circus. His undead minions aren't warriors, they're walking L's, perfectly engineered disasters. They don't punch, they don't tank, they don't obey. They just throw Fortnite emotes inside dungeons. They even start stripping and dancing in the middle of fights. My boy wanted an army, he got a daycare. So instead of solo leveling, he's solo babysitting, dragging a parade of one brain cell goofballs through dungeons while trying not to die of embarrassment. And trust me, the deeper this story goes, the more everything becomes a biblical level shit show. So before this brain dead recap goes bananas, let's start this shit. This bro legit gets his butt folded by a hotshot bitch. She even tells her people to take him out. He's like a breath away from the afterlife when our totally unqualified hero decides to swoop in and save the day. Next thing, he turns into hell for every NPC in sight. This walking burden and a menace is Hirkin. His minions fall over themselves begging for forgiveness, but he stays chill like daddy just showed up. Then he flips into roast mode and cooks the bitch acting like she owns the server. Touched by their weird companionship, she joins the trash talk too. This bitch is Sira, Queen of Thunder or whatever she thinks she is. He taps his kitty watch, pulls out glasses and a sword in fast-forward cosplay, and doubles down on the disrespect. She snaps and tells everyone to kill him. My boy just looks at her like, kill him, my ass. But Betrayal pulls up. His minions turn on him for pocket change. He freezes. Sira laughs like she bought VIP tickets to his downfall. She threatens to delete him every time he logs in, and calls him trash who crawled back into the garbage. He tries to grab her out of spite, but they stab him in the arm. They scream at him to die since someone offered millions. He gave everything to that guild. They called him family. Turns out they're all just jerks and scum with the Thunder bitch leading their little circus. The plot basically ends with him getting his nuts kicked. Except nope, he was just playing a shit game and now gets slapped with a 48-hour touch grass penalty. He wakes up breathing hard and slams his head because he lost everything. The game is Warlord. It's the only thing he's good at. In real life, people call him trash. In the game, he actually matters. The betrayal hits so hard, he storms out ready to hunt everyone who screwed him over. He didn't survive all that misery just so some bastard can live well without him. But before Revenge Arc can begin, Truck Coon is still on duty, except this time it's not even the normal one, it's the garbage Truck Coon. He refuses to die while the jerks who betrayed him are alive. He refuses to die without revenge, so the recycled plot boots up. User verification, login, welcome back. Just like every regression mess, he's dumped into the tutorial again. Minions yell at him not to zone out. A minotaur is going wild for some lame reason. The monster can't be killed alone, so all three of them have to work together. Something clicks for him. He asks if this boss tutorial wasn't removed 5 years ago for being too hard, but the minion says 5 years ago what Warlord came out 10 months ago. He gets confused. Then it hits him. Ah shit, here we go again. He rushes forward alone. The cute minotaur tries to attack, but the next moment it gets deleted. My boy drops it with basic cleaves and slashes. The minions stare, then smirk, then ask if he wants to join their guild because he looks talented. That offer slams him with PTSD. He decides he's done being a nice dog. He cuts their heads off. He knows trusting anyone means he's screwed forever. And that's how, after getting rage baited like a Minecraft noob, Hirkin the Slaughterer officially begins his regression run. He yanks off his VR headset and is totally shocked to find himself in some V-Gear store or whatever. 5 years ago, he couldn't even afford his own VR, so he used to just mess around on the demo unit here. When it hits him that he's actually traveled back in time, he bolts out because he doesn't want to waste a second. He's got all this future knowledge and skills that can help him hit it big in gambling and become a millionaire. But nah, his mind's set on one thing, revenge. He quickly orders a V-Gear, and the girl at the counter starts processing the payment. He's feeling hyped, thinking about where to start, but then she hits him with the reality check and shows him he's broke, basically rubbing it in his face. He's like, what the hell? He remembers he wasn't here for the money. Now he needs cash first, but making it is gonna take too long. Some words suddenly hit him like a ton of bricks. It's an ad from that same annoying bitch Sira, promoting some fancy battlefield. She totally looks like a wannabe influencer in Warlord. He stares at this stupid billboard for that garbage game. Then the memory of her calling him trash hits him hard, but he knows he's not in a position to start fights. Back home, he manages to get a V-Gear set up. The only way he can make money is through some shady loan schemes. A few jerks are willing to lend him 10 million won, but one of them waves a knife and reminds him that if he can't pay it back, he's done for. He swallows hard at the thought, but but he's still fired up. He doesn't care. He's ready to crawl through hell just to take down those losers. Fuming, he logs in, and after his identity gets confirmed, he jumps back into Warlord. He remembers it's around the time some girl shows up. Then this stunning goth baddie appears. She's Ariadne, and she helps him pick a class. She tells him it's time to choose his basic class, and that choice will affect his advanced class later. The first option is Warrior, a frontline fighter with good stats. He played that last time, but going solo gets tough later on. The second option is Priest, a support class with heals and buffs, but that's a total turnoff since he doesn't want to waste time helping others. So he's got only one choice left. She wishes him an epic journey and zaps him to his class tower. An old dude greets him. It's Golko, a guide and mage class NPC. As soon as the old man asks what kind of magic he wants, my guy just goes for dark magic. This throws both of them off a bit. The old dude thinks he means arc magic and apologizes, but my guy stands his ground and repeats dark magic. The old man looks shocked and asks where he even heard about it since it can totally eat the caster's soul. But my boy is all about confidence. He's done his homework and knows it has to be dark magic. The old dude starts shaking. Then, he tears his own skin back to reveal a skull, ready to dive into this wild choice. He mentions it's been a while since he's seen a kid pick this path. He tells my guy to put his hand on the book if he's ready. He warns him that this path isn't for the faint-hearted. But my guy slams his hand down on the book like he owns it and makes it clear that he's not faint-hearted at all and just wants to get on with it. The giant skull chuckles because he thinks my guy is pretty interesting. In his previous life, there was a legendary Necromancer player who solo cleared a boss raid. That's the kind of power he needs now. He also gets the title of Clueless Necromancer. He receives a bone shard skill that lets him get Necromancer skulls like Pokeballs. When he tosses one, it pops out a skeletal warrior. This time he is going all in. As a Necromancer, he feels pumped to dive into the training dungeon, but his weak Pokemon-looking summon can't even handle its own skull. That leaves both of them in a pretty embarrassing situation. So, he steps into this beginner training dungeon and keeps thinking about how this skeleton isn't anything like the chill ones he's seen before. He checks out his skill window, and it's a total mess. He can only make skeleton fragments. He knows he needs to level up fast, but right on cue, some little wolves crawl out. They aren't tough, but they're super quick, so they're perfect for a test run. He throws a skeleton fragment, and it spawns a skeleton warrior that actually lets out a weird roar, which freaks the little wolves out. He tells it to take care of things, and the undead charges in without a second thought, which gets him pumped. But then, bam! The wolves take down the skeleton in no time, leaving him totally shocked. The undead starts crying, and he's both grossed out and confused. He opens up his status window in a panic and realizes he has to set the default modes. He feels a bit better since it's on him and switches to defense mode, but it doesn't change much. To those cute wolves, the bones are basically just snacks. He's sweating like crazy, so he picks special action mode, and instead of fighting, the minion starts dancing with the wolves. Now he's really in trouble. He drops to the ground and tries to get rid of the character, but accounts under 3 months old can't delete anything. His whole situation is already messed up since he can't get rid of the character, can't switch classes, and his loan payments kick in next month. He's even thinking about getting hit by Truck-kun again. Nothing's going his way. Just when he thinks things might chill out, this bonehead keeps causing trouble. His brain's fried, trying to remember how the Necromancer from his last life handled stuff like this. But then he notices something crazy. The bonehead has a deep learning system and can pick up skills from fighting. It's like training your own AI model. It's been watching him take out those wolves earlier, so now the bonehead's learning everything from him. He smirks and calls it over. He starts bragging that he used to be called a genius for training guild members into top rankers. He tells the bonehead to remember one thing: if it doesn't dodge, it's finished. Then he smashes the thick skull. The skeleton pops back up, but takes another punch. My boy snaps at the bonehead, telling it that it can't just stand there like a dud. It has to fight back. The skeleton brushes itself off and gets back in position, facing the wolves. This time, it's not just playing around. It actually connects with some hits. With 2 solid strikes, it takes out one of the wolves. The bonehead feels a rush of pride, but my boy warns it not to lose focus. That last move was decent, and the skeleton's skill level goes up. My boy thinks it's finally ready. In the beginner village, where everyone's looking for guilds or raid teams, he's already planning to solo the whole dungeon by leveling up skeletons. First though, he needs to hit level 10. Suddenly, he runs into this cocky guy who demands an apology. He stays chill and considers taking down the fat jerk. The guy can't stand him acting all high and mighty, so he lunges at him, but a cool dude steps in to break it up. This dude tells them not to go around throwing punches. The jerk gets all mad and asks who he thinks he is. Meanwhile, my guy looks surprised to see him. He spots the bulging muscles and offbeat fashion of this guy, and it hits him. This is Mathador Shev, the top warrior from his previous life. It's wild that Shev is here. Our guy tells him to hang tight, but the arrogant jerk spits and tells Shev to back off. Shev gets what's going down and decides to show the jerk a little taste of his power. That alone sends chills down the fat guy's spine, and even gets our guy moving. The jerk swings at Shev's palm, and Shev is ready to throw down right back. Then some minion jumps in, saying this dude is Shev, the guild master of the Red Bulls, one of the top guilds known for loving a good fight. fight. The fat guy just stands there shocked. As he tries to snap at Shev again, Shev blinks right behind him, giving him the creeps. The fat guy bails, trying to save himself, and Shev looks pretty content that things got resolved without a fight. Then he turns to our guy and tells him not to worry about people like that. But our boy brushes him off, saying he won't need any help from now on. Shev's taken aback by that, noticing how icy our guy is acting. He feels a bit intimidated by Shev's power, but next time, he's determined to be a whole different person. Later, while chilling in a cave, he can't shake the feeling of just how big the power gap is. Sur and Shev are on a whole other level. If he wants to get back at them later, he needs to bulk up. But then, a massive beast lunges at him, and instead of dancing around, he finally takes charge. The bonehead takes out the beast and even levels up, looking pretty proud of himself. Our guy hits level 10 inches just 3 days, which is slower than he wanted. The bonehead feels a bit down since no one's cheering him on, but they finally wrap up the training dungeon, and he's officially not a newbie anymore. Then, a kitty watch pops up again. This one's called a war watch, showing stats, quests, inventory, and all that have been missing lately. He hasn't checked one in a bit, so he takes a look at his status window. His stats are back in shape, and he can finally spend points on his strengths. Since it's his first time doing this, he tries to make smart choices. A necromancer usually boosts their mana or intelligence, but he decides to dump everything into strength instead, cranking it up by 50. He can feel the difference instantly. The bonehead, though, is freaking out and starts crying. Our guy gives him a little smack on the head, reminding him he didn't quit being a necromancer. He's just learning a different way to play. He's ready to teach his rookie all the skills he had when he was at his peak. He's putting everything on his little buddy's growth. The rookie gets a bit emotional over the generosity, but our guy just gets annoyed and tells him to get back to training. There are other ways to make up for weak stats. After all, he heads over to the Raiders Association at Figus Castle Branch, where a fresh quest list just dropped, and the minions are fighting over the tasks. Our guy wants in too, so he checks out the board, but all the tasks look tough. He thinks they're trash, but then he spots a hidden gem, a quest at Bima Mountain's cave to take out some low-level monsters. The dude warns him it's only worth 10 gold, but if he finishes this boring quest before hitting level 15, he'll snag a super rare title called Prospector. Titles might boost your stats, but Prospector is all about those percentages to kick off his OP journey. He's feeling pumped, and heads to check out some gear next. In the Bima Mountains, things are already looking bleak for him. He ends up stuck in this ridiculous clown costume, and he's broke because he splurged on some lousy gear. Now he's just itching to speedrun the quest to score some decent clothes. He's determined to wrap things up quickly. But then, out of nowhere, this blood-covered dude jumps out from the bushes, begging for help. He gets pulled back in by some jerks who are all about manners. Some guy is all excited to kick off his adventure at Bima Mountain. He thinks he's got a good grip on the game, but then he spots someone asking for help with their friend. Apparently, they just got attacked by a monster they've never seen before, barely made it out, and they're totally out of healing potions. The dude playing nice has some with him. The girl is crying and super grateful, saying they'll totally repay him. He thinks they mean the usual kind of payback, but they clearly have something sketchy up their sleeves. In the end, the nice guy finds himself begging for help instead. The jerk acts all pumped and claims they'll make the most of those items. The dude can't believe he got played. The jerks laugh and call him an idiot for falling for it. They beat him up, his watch drops, and they think it's hilarious to pick on newbies. That jerk is already amped to find his next target. Bonehead is standing in front of some wolves when one suddenly lunges at him. He switches to attack mode and charges at the little furballs, slashing away. His experience points are going up, and with this sword, those wolves are no big deal. He's honestly pretty stoked he prioritized getting gear for the skeleton first. It even gets him a bit emotional, realizing that a true gamer values utility over looks. Bonehead notices and tears up too, feeling sorry for his sad-looking owner. Our guy tells him to follow because they've still got to level up quickly. Out of nowhere though, Bonehead gets nailed in the skull by an arrow, scaring the heck out of our guy. Some jerks jump in, acting all innocent and saying Bonehead looked like a monster from a distance. They're crying all dramatically, and he spots their blood-covered kitty watches and gear. Suspicion kicks in fast. He figures he might as well throw them a mana potion as compensation. They pretend to be all sad and say they don't have any potions, but then they offer to help him level up. He's still not sure, but they keep insisting they've got it covered. More wolves show up, and they say they'll weaken them so he can take them out. Little do they know, they already have a sneaky plan in mind. They draw the monster's attention, buff them up, and then send one charging at him while acting like it was a mistake. He freaks out when the wolf comes at him, and the jerks just sit back, waiting for him to go down. But then, to their surprise, Bonehead takes it out in no time. Our guy tells them to keep going, and they start questioning why this skeleton is so tough. They wonder if his level is higher than it seems. Next, they send several monsters at him. When they think he's distracted, they get ready to attack. But just as the buffed-up jerk lunges at him, our guy dodges and counters immediately. The other goons are just frozen in shock. Our guy calls Bonehead over, and together, they charge at the scared jerks. They get wrecked in seconds by him and Bonehead. He knows these jerks way too well. They'll stab anyone in the back who trusts them and grab all their stuff. If he were still his old self, their tricks might have worked on him. Now, the clueless thugs are trying to make make up for it with random items, but he's done with trusting anyone. Their own dumb moves just get them beaten up again. It's hard to decide. Believe they dropped 8 watches. That works out great for him. He's thinking about focusing on upgrading his clothes first. Bonehead is still hyped and looks pretty intimidating. He likes the new outfit, but my boy reminds him that looks don't matter when you're in the game. What really counts is what's under that outfit. Their war watches turn out to be total score-ups. When someone peddles another player's war watch, a random item from their stash drops. It could be anything: rare items, skills, books, or even cash. That's what a jackpot is all about. He ends up doing all this way faster than he thought, which is pretty awesome. He's planning to record his gameplay and create a strong identity. But then, he suddenly remembers that time he told those jerks they should wear masks to go viral, and they totally shut him down. He even thought about picking a different identity back then, but now he doesn't want anyone snagging his stuff again, so he figures he'll use this to show he was right. He puts on a goofy mask and heads out. As he steps into the dungeon, he remembers how those blue werewolves show up in this cave. This place isn't going to be a walk in the park, but he's got better gear now, and is aiming to speedrun it in 10 minutes. Feeling pumped, he rushes in with Bonehead. A few hours later, he starts to feel pretty doomed since he can't find any monsters. He's waiting for a message saying someone else cleared it, but then he spots something off to the side. When he checks it out, a wild, crazy dungeon appears. It's an instant dungeon, which is why there were no monsters popping up. This type of dungeon spawns inside others and keeps the regular one inactive until it's cleared. They're tougher than the usual ones, but the rewards are way better. The real kicker is that he has to clear it or he risks dying in there. He's thinking about throwing in the towel since dying means he can't play for 2 days, but he just can't shake off the urge to dive in. He steps into the dungeon, feeling pumped and ready to tackle it. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself in this massive arena that totally looks like a coliseum. Right in front of him is a giant beast with 3 eyes on its head, a corrupted werewolf whose level he has no clue about. He's freaked out. The wild wolf charges at him, and he dodges, but still gets knocked away. Now Bonehead is left on his own. Behind him, the corrupted beast is grinning and laughing like a maniac. He can't help but wonder why he's so lucky since these corrupted monsters are connected to the main quest. He tells Bonehead that if they don't take down the wolf, dinner's gonna be a no-show today. He lunges in, and Bonehead jumps right after him, landing on the giant wolf that's roaring like it's possessed. He hits it with a curse that powers up his sword with some nasty demon magic. The wolf's caught off guard, and he slices into its arm like it's nothing. Thanks to the curse, the beast's stats drop by 10%. Not a bad start for him, but the wolf's not backing down. It charges at him, furious, and the curse effect wears off. Honestly, it wouldn't be an instant dungeon if things were this easy. He had been saving a trick for later, but he decides to whip it out now. With a flex of his kitty watch, he activates a slot skill. A massive aura swirls around him, and it feels like he's about to go all out. Once the aura settles, he looks totally fierce and pumped up. Slot on is one of the cool features that come with being a warlord. When a player activates it, they gain some serious temporary strength from the warlord's realm, allowing them to take on a more powerful form. This ultimate mode looks different for everyone, which is part of the fun. The player feels really pumped up, challenging the beast with confidence, which starts roaring like crazy. The showdown kicks off as the beast lunges with a flurry of claw swipes. The player is quick on their feet, dodging each attack. As expected from a boss monster, it's super fast and hits hard. One blow could mean it's game over. He's pretty annoyed about this. Being a fighter, he jumps right into action and takes a big bite out of the beast, making it howl in pain. For him, it's like a fun game, but he forgets that the beast isn't going down that easy. It's in full rage mode. Still, he's acting all tough like he owns the place. He turns to the Bonehead and asks if he's forgetting something. Without missing a beat, the Bonehead slashes off the beast's arm. Our guy tells him to pull off the move they practiced, and the beast instantly reacts as the Bonehead moves. The beast is caught off guard. Together, they take down the beast and, in no time, unleash their slashes. They completely take out the werewolf this way. Slot on is starting to power down. He also takes control of the Bima Mountain Cave. After beating a tough monster, his rank bumps up to E. He snags the werewolf's skull, and the rewards are seriously good, like he gets a corrupted tracker necklace. He's caught off guard when he sees it. 3 new titles pop up: Promising Rookie, Challenger of the Heroes, and Corrupted Tracker. The last one kicks off the main quest titled Count Corruption, which is a huge part of the Warlord's universe. The rewards from this quest are legendary, and every player wants in. It's basically the crown jewel of Warlord's content. In his previous life, he barely scraped through Chapter 4, and now he's already at this point. It's not just lucky, it feels like he hit the jackpot. He decides to log out. Breaking news just came in. Hydra Gold is at the final chapter of Count Corruption. When he sees it, he realizes his jackpot is actually worthless since someone's already finished it. He's debating whether to ditch this chapter and aim for the next, but then it hits him. This could be a chance. Everyone's eyes are on Count Corruption, since it's the first main quest in Warlord, and it's about to be cleared. He starts thinking about how wild it would be if a video about Count Corruption dropped right now. The views would go through the roof. He has all his gameplay recorded and posted on YouTube. For him, editing is where it's at. There's this dude known as the god of editing from past times, Romeni, who who's a filmmaker, so our guy sends him a request to edit one of his videos. Romeni just smirks, thinking it's some newbie trying to make a name for himself online, but then he gets totally surprised. He starts shaking with excitement when he finds his muse. Meanwhile, up in some tall building, there's a chick hanging out with her assistant, who freaks out when she sees a new Count Corruption video just dropped. It's wild because a level 15 takes down a corrupted werewolf. They notice the werewolf's level is low, so they're not too worried, but the chick digs it and decides she wants it brought to her. She's Xiaolian, the top dog in the business world, and her nickname is Sira, the Queen of Thunder. The next day, my boy is pretty shocked to see he racked up a decent amount of views yesterday, 6,000 to be exact. Back in his previous life, it usually took him months to hit that kind of number. Then there's this other weird thing. Romeni, the mysterious guy, actually reaches out first. That's pretty out of character for him. He's acting in this oddly not so straight way, and honestly, my boy almost wants to block him. Romeni's asking when he can get the next video, but my boy's totally stumped because there's no way he's finding another corrupted werewolf anytime soon. While he's pondering this, he logs into the game, deciding he needs to make a move while the hype is still there. On the flip side, Chev is checking out his gameplay and thinks the dude has really stepped up his game, but he can't shake the feeling that the guy looks kind of familiar. That's when this girl named Yahello jumps in, and he tells her he's talking about the guy who's been causing a stir lately. Chev is super hyped because my dude feels like he's really moving, and Chev can't believe how well he trains his summons. He's even more stoked to duel him one day, but Yahello is pretty annoyed. She pushes him to get ready since they're going live in 5 minutes, and he thanks her. She reminds him to stay focused on today's stream, since over 200,000 people bought tickets to see Chev of the Greater Red Bulls, who's ranked 9th in Warlord, and the dungeon gate is about to spawn. When the countdown hits 0, he gets pumped and tells his minions to gear up for battle. On the other hand, my boy is at the Raiders Association and feels pretty down since there aren't any good quests available. He's realizing it might be time to take a break from making more videos. Just then, the receptionist remembers him for clearing the dungeon in Bima Mountain. He spots Hotan, the same guy he met before, who asks if he has a minute. Hotan heard that my buddy found a mutant in Bima Mountain, but he's like, what mutant? All he saw were some werewolves with strange eyes. Hotan gives him a bit of a jolt when he mentions there's a good chance he ran into a monster linked to the corrupt one's power. They don't really know much about who that is, but apparently, their power makes monsters go crazy, and a lot of people end up getting hurt. As Hotan talks about putting bounties on these creatures, my buddy grabs his hand all excited like, and says he wants to help take down that evil monster. Turns out it's a hidden quest. Hotan's kind of unsure at first, but my buddy is all in, so Hotan goes for it and tells him about this person named Ahimbri over by Figus Castle. He even hooks him up with a recommendation letter so he can learn from Ahimbri. That's how he gets the quest called Teachings of Ahimbri. He's so pumped, he can hardly contain himself. It's wild that he gets a chance to be Ahimbri's student. Ahimbri is one of Bokan's 7 disciples, and every mage is eager to meet him, since he's the go-to guy for the best skill books. He's a pretty important NPC. My boy realizes he doesn't have to stress about video content anymore. Then it hits him, he almost forgot about something he needed to handle. He gets ready and throws out his Pokeballs, and out pops Bonehead. He hasn't even checked his rewards from the last fight yet. He still has that werewolf skull he didn't sell, so he uses it to boost Bonehead, and just like that, Bonehead gets a nice toughness upgrade. Next up is the necklace of the corrupted tracker. Once it kicks in, all his stats jump up by 18 points. That's it for the prep work, but he's got more Pokemon on deck. He throws out the fragments and unleashes even more minions. Bonehead can't believe his eyes when he sees this. He starts complaining to my guy, and from this point on, all 3 of them are going to team up. Bonehead is totally toast because of it. After a while, a level 25 forest bear goes wild and charges at my buddy. He dodges its moves like it's nothing, but he's still a bit on edge. He shouts for his minion, and it drops in from above. The bear smacks it down immediately. My boy is seriously ticked off because the minion's attack is super obvious when it should totally be hitting from the blind spot. The minion jumps up again and still gets wrecked. Totally pissed off now, he yells at them to come from the blind spots, but they just keep doing the same thing. Then the veteran, the real Bonehead, shows up. Just seeing him makes my boy blush. Bonehead leaps into the air, ready to take down the bear in one shot, but he ends up getting smashed too. This really ticks my boy off. It's frustrating because of those guys. As punishment, he takes off their skulls and asks if they even have brains, but of course, they don't since they're totally empty-headed. He starts lecturing them that when monsters are attacked, they look in the direction of the hit, so they need to sneak in from the blind spots. He asks what happens if they charge straight at the monster, but these clueless minions just don't get it. His skill rank goes up, so now he can summon 3 skeletons, which is cool, but the downside is they can't work together. They share whatever he teaches one of them, but teamwork is a total bust. They eat up triple the mana, and somehow, they're even worse than before. Now he's come to terms with the fact that he can't make fighting videos for a bit. He finally hits level 20 like he wanted, so he figures he'll just train his minions until they reach Bangsu Castle. He thought he could just kick back while they did all the fighting, typical Necromancer style, but now he's got to step up and be in the action himself. At the Bangsu Raider Association, some sketchy guy shows up up, and everyone rushes over to see what quest he's offering. It annoys him how they behave like a pack of hyenas, so desperate to latch onto anyone else's work instead of putting in the effort themselves. One guy even tries to ask him about a quest, but he just tells him to buzz off. He can't let anyone know he's doing the empty quest. He got a letter of recommendation from Hotan, and one of his minions tells him to head up to the second floor. When people spot him, they scatter like crazy, pretending they're part of his crew. He's curious about what kind of reward a Himbri has in store for him. It must be something good since it's a hidden quest. He even thinks they might hit it off, but he gets hit with a surprise. The room's a total mess, and a Himbri doesn't recognize him and asks who he is, saying he has no clue about any appointment. My boy introduces himself and mentions the recommendation from Hotan. A Himbri takes a look at him, notices he looks like a black mage trainee, and realizes he's got some skill. A Himbri hands over the promised reward, which turns out to be some skill books for bone armor and a fancy matroness helm. They look super rare, and my boy is all about them. He finishes up a Himbri's quest, but can't shake the feeling that it ended way too quickly. He's itching for the next one. After all that effort, he wants more than just a couple of skills. He charges ahead, declaring he'll do whatever it takes. A Himbri turns around, raises his hand, and asks if he really means anything. Then he gives my boy an evil grin. Now my boy has to grab the egg from the nest, and the kicker? The reward is nothing. Total bummer. Meanwhile, a sketchy dude is wandering around town with a bunch of pricey stuff. This guy's after the high hoi mask, which means he's got his sights set on my boy. Just as our guy steps outside, he realizes he could actually get scammed by an NPC. He thought he was onto a side quest connected to the main one, but now he's stuck with this lame quest that doesn't reward him at all. He starts to wonder if he really has to do it, but then some dude jumps in and asks if he's chatting about a quest. As soon as people catch wind of a quest, they swarm him, and our guy totally forgot about these scavenger types. He's contemplating whether he should just take them out, but that same dude jumps in and saves the day. He asks if our guy has a minute because he wants to talk somewhere, more private. This surprises our guy, and he wonders who this is anyway, telling him to scram. The dude insists and even calls him Haho Mask. Once they make it outside, the dude apologizes for bothering him but says they couldn't chat properly with everyone around. Our guy is picking up that this dude must be some sort of ranker, but he still can't place him from his past life. Since our guy doesn't know who he is, the dude asks again if he is Haho Mask. Usually in this situation, our guy plays dumb, so he acts like he has no idea what that means. The dude asks if he didn't get a side quest from an NPC named a Himbri. This pisses off our guy, and he asks who this even is. He flashes some holy fingers to show he is ready for a fight. All he needs to do is pretend he doesn't know anything, and he wonders what the dude will do next. The dude extends his hand and apologizes, saying he made a mistake. Seeing this, our guy gets shocked and even chuckles a bit, then walks off while mentioning that he is letting him slide once. The dude stays speechless, and this is when some chick pops out of nowhere. She doesn't think that's him, but the dude says if anyone has played Warlord long enough, they would never reach out their arm carelessly with the war watch. She wonders if they need to keep watching a Himbri. Since the corrupt account quest is almost over, she questions what they should do if someone finds out now. But the dude says the hack of the next quest is the main one, so they shouldn't take unnecessary risks. She goes back to her spot. Meanwhile, our guy is watching from the window and realizes these people must be part of some group. If they were just regular players, they would have tried to strike a deal. They're definitely not your average players just messing with him. Still, he can't shake the feeling of who they really are. Later, while he's in the forest, he's convinced there's more to this chaos. They probably saw his video and knew Haho Mask would get a quest from a Himbri. Since they let him go without a fuss, it's clear they don't care about who Haho Mask is. He has no clue what's up with the quest, but if he keeps going, he'll definitely run into them again. So now he can't even upload videos for a while. He feels trapped and wonders why these random crazies keep messing up his life. On the flip side, Suji finds Sira a bit too overwhelming. She's Sira's assistant and secretary, and when her minion brings up the guild entrance exam, she thinks it was all just garbage. You can see she's fuming, and her minion looks like he's about to crumble. She asks for any news on the masked guy, and when the minion says he seems to have joined another guild, Suji's rage skyrockets. Hearing about him joining another guild really sets her off, but the minion quickly backtracks and promises to double check. Then Suji switches gears and asks what the president had to say. The minion tells her he hasn't said anything yet. Suji realizes it's probably because of that time he tried to force a marriage just because she mentioned playing the game. She orders her minion to gather a new batch of applicants and report back by tomorrow morning. The minion is totally freaked out by the deadline. As Suji walks out, her assistant is left feeling doomed. On the other side, our dude walks through a swarm of lizards. If a Himbri is chilling in Bangsu, the quest has to be around this place. Since it's all about finding an egg, it's gotta be a bird, reptile, or some bug. He figures he can handle 2 spots with his level, and one of them is this lizard horde. He shouts to Bonehead, telling him to use the enhancement skill on him since the monsters are too strong. There's this madness helm, and when he activates it, Bonehead gets a pretty sweet buff. Our guy is caught off guard when he sees it. Bonehead looks sick now, and he's like, we gotta test this out. He tells Bonehead to attack him. The twist is that that someone might end up losing their sanity from this skill. The bonehead starts yelling and charges at him, but he totally punishes it by sending its skull flying. He's in shock and seems a bit freaked out. Can't believe he just shouted at it like that. The other minions freeze up, looking terrified. He wonders if something's off here, like if he got tricked into thinking this skill was legit. Just then, a lizard man shows up behind him. He turns around, excited that the test subject arrives right on cue. He fires up the helm, giving a boost to his minions and some bone armor to the bonehead. The three of them charge ahead. The lizards are also a trio, so he tells his minions to take them on. An epic showdown kicks off between the skeletons and the lizards, but the minions go wild, slicing through the lizards like it's nothing. They level up while doing it, and he's really hyped watching the action. For the next week, they're all set to hunt monsters and search for that egg. Some chick is watching them from the sidelines, smirking to herself. Her name's Ilya, and she's definitely a knockout, one of those top-tier beauties. In her mind, she thinks everyone's just into her no matter what she does. Life's always been a breeze for her, and whenever she stirs up trouble, her crew jumps in to bail her out. But then, she suddenly slips and lands right in some gross muck. Super embarrassing, and she feels disgusting. Totally hates this place. One of her followers brought her here to help her level up, but that loser bit the dust right away, so now she's stuck. She's freaking out about how tough the monsters are, and wonders if she can trick someone into helping her. That's when she spots him and thinks, looks like I found my new slave. She cries out for help and stumbles out of the bushes, looking all wobbly and pleading. She pretends she hurt her leg because of these monsters and can't believe it doesn't bother him to see such a gorgeous woman in pain. She thinks he won't be able to resist helping her out, but he brushes her off, and she feels totally doomed, especially since he seems like he's about to walk away. It's hard to believe he's ignoring her, a total knockout, while she keeps begging for the necromancer's attention. To him though, she's just another nutcase. She shakes with disbelief, wondering how he can just disregard her like that. On the other side, he's just trying to chill and enjoy the fights, but she's being super loud and annoying. He tries to block her out, but she keeps following him around and wasting his time. It's driving him crazy because he thinks if she wants to play a game, she should actually know how to play it. Finally, he figures it'll be quicker to just give in. He asks her what she needs, and she sweetly says she dropped her sword in the swamp and wants his help getting it back. Inside, he just wants her to go away. After she gets her sword, she acts all grateful, but deep down, she's feeling sneaky and is actually planning to checkmate him. They find her sword, and she acts all grateful about it. He still tells her to scram. After handing it over, he tells his minions to move out. She smirks, thinking necromancers are nothing without their summons. She charges at him for ignoring her, getting ready to strike, but he suddenly turns around. To him, she's just way too slow. He lands a punch that sends her flying into the swamp. She pops up, cursing him and shouting about how her bodyguard could take him down. He just chuckles and points behind her. She turns around and sees some crazy lizards coming at her. He figures if she's trying to pull one over on him, she needs to step up her game. He saw right through her from the start. He's had it with scams and tells his minions to keep moving. So, Bonehead is trying to work on his charm, but things take a turn when all three of them get in trouble for him telling them to ditch all that weird stuff. The girl actually ends up dying, and surprisingly, he feels kind of stoked about it because he still gets points, even though he didn't do the deed himself. He remembers her warning him with her bodyguard, and figures her bodyguards aren't really all that tough. Meanwhile, some sketchy folks are already keeping an eye on him. A little while later, he runs into some idiots. They're the girl's bodyguards, and they're out for revenge. He asks one of them why he's going to such lengths for her. Does he really think she'll hook up with him if he takes revenge? It's ridiculous how obsessed this guy is over a girl he met in a game. The goon starts laughing like he's lost it over this chick, but he cuts him off, thinking it's all a joke. That girl had tried to mess with him, so he got rid of her. Never thought what she said would actually come true. She'd teared up in front of the bodyguards, saying the necromancer attacked her, out of nowhere, and now they've all flipped out. So now he's got a bunch of goons after him. Dealing with jerks like this is just part of his day, and on top of that, he's stressed because he can't find any quests. He's even considering finding that girl and taking her out again. After snagging some kids' watches, he grabs their loot too. He even finds a super rare necklace, which he figures must be a drop from these goons since they're bodyguards. He's feeling pretty good about it and thinks he might finally get to treat himself to a nice dinner. But then, out of nowhere, another goon shows up and starts bragging about how he's the loser who killed that girl. Suddenly, a ton of goons swarm him and he has to scramble to get out of there. He can't believe everyone is so worked up over that girl. So, he calls up his minions to handle the attackers. The goons think they'll be able to take down the skeletons easily. They rush in all confident, throwing punches at the minions, but they just end up getting wrecked. These goons are way stronger, and there are just too many of them. He keeps telling himself that once he levels up, they're all done for. He manages to get away, but it's tough to shake them off since he's under-leveled. Then he suddenly stops, feeling confused about where he's at. This place looks totally different. He doesn't remember seeing any area like this in the lizard swamp. After wandering for days, he's never come across a black swamp like this one. Then it hits him. The thugs are still on the hunt for him on the other side. One of them catches sight of the skeleton minions, who are just vibing and having a good time. The goons get totally thrown off and then super mad, thinking he's making fun fun of them. They figure that hurting the girl wasn't enough, so they decide to take out everything in sight. One of them charges in, but suddenly a crazy lizard jumps out. That goon is toast. The lizard grabs the others too. Now, the last guy is just standing there, completely frozen in fear. It turns out to be a dragon lizard, level 40, a total boss monster. He watches the chaos unfold, and realizes he never expected this nest to be the dragon lizard's home. This boss is a total beast with crazy defense, health, and attack power. It usually takes a group of 20 level 40 players just to have a shot at taking it down. He heard the dragon lizard raid wrapped up a while ago, so he figured this boss wouldn't still be around. But if someone with a related quest shows up, the monster respawns. Since the dragon lizard is here, it looks like this is where Ahimbri's quest kicks in. He can't believe Ahimbri sent him out here to take down this monster and grab the egg when he's only level 20. It's frustrating to think how that scammer thought this was okay. Luckily, he pulled together some solid teammates, so he thinks they might stand a chance. The goons try to back off, but he's not letting that happen. He buffs his skeletons to block their way. The goons attempt to push through, but then the dragon lizard hurls one of them into the air. Now they've got the dragon behind them too. He thanks his teammates, promising he won't forget what they did for him. It's time to raid an empty nest, so he dashes in. Once inside, he's shocked to find the eggs gone. He starts looking around, totally in disbelief. The weirdest thing he finds looks more like a stone than an egg. Nothing else there even comes close to looking like an egg. Out of nowhere, a message pops up saying his skeleton minions have been taken out. He realizes the dragon lizard must be back because it sensed an intruder. It shows up fast, looking furious, so he hides. Now he can't keep searching the nest. He has no choice but to grab the stone, even though it's not actually an egg. Meanwhile, Ahimbri is just chilling, waiting for the quest to wrap up. The dark swamp, all the goons have vanished. He jumps up and calls out to one of them, saying Warlord is such a crazy game because everyone gets too much freedom and ends up turning into freaks. When the goon tries to respond, he sticks his sword in the ground next to him to make a point. He warns that he's been playing it cool as a joke until now, but he's got a lot at stake in this game. He tells them they won't get off easily, and he makes it clear that the girl is included in that threat. The goon starts to get nervous. With that, he walks away, hoping they won't come after him again because if they do, it'll escalate into a full-blown war. His next move is to score some extra cash. He hits up the Bangsu Guild and tells them he spotted a dragon lizard at the lizard swarm. He offers to sell them the exact spot for 100 grand. After that, he makes his way to Ahimbri with that strange item. He mutters that he brought the thing Ahimbri mentioned, hoping it's the right one because he doesn't want to have to search the entire map again. Ahimbri takes his time to say it's exactly what he needed, which makes him a bit jumpy. When Ahimbri confirms it's right, he feels pretty stoked about getting it right. But then Ahimbri adds that he expected it would take someone like him a lot longer to find it, which annoys him a bit. He puts everything he's got into the item and asks for the next quest. Ahimbri asks if he even knows what it is. He explains that every time they checked out areas with mutated monsters, this thing always popped up, so he just started calling it the Corruption Stone. Suddenly, he realizes that might be the reason why that guy who looks like a ranker was after him. The Corruption Stone is key to the main quest. They really needed to keep it away from anyone else, since that could mess with the whole main story later on. At first, he thought he got scammed when he took on this quest. He never saw it coming that it would be linked to the main plot. Ahimbri says he's sorry, but this quest might be too much for him since they're up against some unknown, powerful being. He needs to see if he can handle it. He asks if he's ready to take on corruption. This is his chance to officially jump into the main quest, and he's super pumped. He shouts that he'll give it his all. But Ahimbri cuts him off, telling him it's not the right time. His excitement hits the floor. Ahimbri wants to test the monsters first because he thinks he shouldn't give such a big quest to a total newbie. He can't believe he's too low level to keep going. Ahimbri mentions that if he wants, he can set up a quest for him. If he takes him on as a disciple, he might actually help him train. When he leaves the room, he's already got the title of Ahimbri's disciple. He can't help but think this guy is such a scammer. On the flip side, the dragon lizard is totally on fire. The players actually took down that beast, and the minions are feeling pretty hyped about it. This is all thanks to a fancy ranker who thinks his minions did the heavy lifting. One of the minions pulls out some cash to offer up, but the ranker says it's not the promised payout. The minion explains that it's something different from the deal. The ranker isn't a fan of breaking the rules, so the minion says sorry, just trying to lend a hand for some cash. It's pretty unusual for a ranker to show up for such a low-level trade. The ranker starts grabbing everything from the nest like he promised. The minion thinks there's nothing really valuable, but the ranker feels a bit lucky. He never expected to snag a corruption stone. When he heard the dragon lizard respawn, he got a bit anxious, thinking the Ha-Ho mask was already on the quest. But since the Ha-Ho mask is still around, he figures the Necromancer must have messed up, so he checks the nest for the corruption stone. He can't believe a level 20 player could take down a boss monster just by having good skills. He laughs to himself, thinking all he needs to do is grab the corruption stone and stop the Ha-Ho mask from finishing the quest. He's in a tough spot because the nest is empty. Frustration hits him hard, and he starts to shake and scream. On the flip side, our guy is sitting alone, feeling like it's finally time for a change. After all those those rough days, he kept telling himself that if he just hung in there a bit longer, things would get better, and now, he thinks this is it. He's all set to order some beef and can't help but feel excited. He's been saving up on food for a while. With the main quest in the bag and some extra cash, he figures he's earned this little treat. He turns everything into cash, and suddenly his account balance goes through the roof. He thinks it's time to treat himself to some beef, but then bam, he's hit hard by his loan and rent bills. Just like that, he's left with almost nothing. His beef dinner plans go down the drain. He busted his butt working, and now he's broke again. Romani texts him, asking if he's quitting YouTube for good. He can't even make videos because some freaks are after him. Then he gets angry, wondering why he should be scared of these goons when he's about to starve. He starts thinking about where it all went wrong. He's just an innocent gamer trying to have fun, so he decides to stop worrying about it and just do his own thing. He steps into a shady, dark forest, rolling into the forest of death. He always feels a bit spooked every time he comes here. This spot is perfect for racking up experience points and gets a lot of views for his videos. He tells his minions it's hunting time and introduces them to their new buddy, who looks totally freaked out seeing the other three. Magic is part of their game plan now. He's a mage skeleton thanks to that con artist Ahimbri, and he's got access to some fancy spells. The catch is, those spells drain his mana pretty fast. They dive into hunting the monsters that pop up from the ground, but these undead skeletons that rise are no joke. They're level 33 and super tough. Seeing them makes his minions completely panic. He's wondering what the heck is going on, and tells them to get hunting anyway, but they're basically paralyzed with fear. The undead skeletons feel like they're on a whole different level. He tells the minions to chill out because undead monsters are different from the regular ones. They're still trembling like scared pups, which really annoys him. He snaps that they need to stop wasting time since they have a lot to do. As he pushes them to hurry up and fight, the bonehead decides to take matters into his own hands and jumps in. He slices through a skeleton like it's nothing, but then it starts to regenerate, leaving him confused and a bit freaked out. He knows regular attacks won't cut it, so he pulls out his magic hammer. With one swing, he's smashing the undead monsters like it's a walk in the park. He hits so hard it looks like a home run. He points at the minions and asks if they're watching because they need to start hitting some heads too. Meanwhile, the minions are still freaking out in fear. He lays down the challenge for the day. They need to take out 100 skeletons in 100 minutes. He also adds that if they mess up, he's leaving them there for life. They're on the verge of falling apart and start crying. A little while later, after taking out a bunch of skeleton monsters, he levels up and realizes things are going pretty well. He thought it would take longer to get used to the new weapons, but it's all going better than he expected. He figures the video should be a hit, but then he gets a bit of a scare when a huge fish jumps into the pond. It's actually a level 35 skeleton warrior. This guy is super rare and appears randomly. As soon as he sees it, he can't help but think about the tasty beef he could get from taking it down. Feeling pumped for that meat, he charges in, totally drooling over the idea of grilled beef bulgogi. But things get real when the skeleton warrior attacks, and he barely dodges its strike. He almost gets taken out before he can even react. He manages to hit its arm, and just when he's thinking of what to do next, the warrior lunges at him again. Luckily, his minions jump in to help. He gets his hammer ready and smashes its pelvis, and the skeleton warrior screams in pain. He checks in on his minions, and thankfully, they're behaving themselves for now. Just when he thinks this is going a lot smoother than he expected, the skeleton warrior lunges at him from behind. It's about to strike when he casually turns around, chuckling because he's got another minion ready. The mage is hanging back behind the skeleton, ready with his fire striker. He conjures up this massive fireball and sends it flying straight at the skeleton. The poor thing goes down, and he grabs some experience points from it. He's pretty sure this might rack him up at least 10,000 views. Feeling a bit hungry now, he starts craving grilled beef, but out of nowhere, a notification pops up saying the field boss has sensed its minion's death. It totally catches him off guard. Then another pop-up says the boss has spotted intruders. With a warning that the boss is waking up, a massive magic circle starts to form. Something way more dangerous is about to rise. When it pops out, he can't believe his eyes. It's this wild thing with 6 arms, way tougher than the bosses he's seen before. He's completely blown away. It's the golden skeleton at level 40, the boss of the Forest of the Dead, and the first mage-class boss he's ever encountered. It's known as the newbie killer. He suddenly remembers that, to make this thing show up, he had to defeat a ton of skeletons, but that totally slipped his mind. He's not sure he can take it down, but if he does, it'll be a huge win. He figures if he buffs his skeletons, he might stand a chance, so he tries to rally his minions, but when he turns around, they're nowhere to be seen. His summoning is done because he's out of mana. Now he's all on his own, super scared, while the minions are just chilling elsewhere. He brings out all 4 minions and even gets the mage to cast, so he's definitely out of mana now. There's no other option for him. He checks his kitty watch and figures it's time to warm up his body for the first time in ages. He pops on a slot on and gears up in his buff outfit. Now that he's face to face with the skeleton, it's game time. The golden skeleton starts working magic and summons this crazy spell behind behind it. Once that thing is live, it starts blasting a storm of beam strikes. One hit could take him out, and it keeps firing. No wonder they call it the newbie killer. He's got no shot if he lets it keep casting. So, he lunges in because he needs to stop those spells. He smashes the skeleton's hands, and the thing looks totally confused. The spell dies, and he realizes those hands are linked to the magic, so all he has to do is take them all out. The golden skeleton spins around, and suddenly a notification pops up, telling him the field boss is checking him out. It's sizing him up and trying to figure out his skill level. Then, it makes some wild hand gesture and conjures a crazy powerful spell. He's totally confused because he has no clue what's going on. A brutal wave of attacks starts chasing him down, and he's sprinting for his life, still trying to make sense of this pattern. The onslaught is so fierce that it's right on his heels. He barely escapes, stumbling and rolling into the dirt. As he tries to piece together what this pattern could be, nothing comes to mind. He even wonders if he's just misremembering. Maybe the golden skeleton has some sneaky tricks up its sleeve, or they patched things up like they did with the minotaurs. He chuckles at the thought because honestly, he has no idea. It feels like forever since he last hunted a golden skeleton, and it's frustrating that, even with his summons, he can't remember its moves. He's seriously questioning how he's supposed to take this thing down. He figures he'll just give everything a shot. He dodges the attacks and lunges forward again, knowing he can avoid them as long as he keeps track of where they're coming from. The tricky part is finding a moment to fight back. He really needs to find a blind spot. While he's thinking about it, the golden skeleton grabs him, screaming right in his face. He feels totally trapped and can't believe how many moves this thing has. But he keeps his cool, because he has a secret weapon. He activates his demon's curse, knocking the skeleton's stats down by 13%. With that in play, he goes for the skeleton's face. He's not sure how to create an opening, so he decides to just make one, feeling pretty proud of himself. Putting all his strength into it, he slams his fist into the golden skeleton, sending it crashing into the ground. The poor thing gets all messed up, and he's feeling pretty good that the boss is finally down. As the golden skeleton sinks into the ground, he scores some experience, cash, and earns the title of Skeleton Destroyer. He chuckles, thinking that was way too close, and switches off his slot on. He checks his status window and sees he's at level 36, with some solid stats. He's stoked to hit level 36 already, but he knows things are going to get intense if he keeps this up. His mana's sitting at 141, which isn't too bad considering he hasn't focused on it, but it still feels low. Up to now, he's managed with titles and fast leveling, but now that he's got more skills, it's just not cutting it. Boosting strength for his skeleton warriors seems pointless when they're gone. He's got all the mana titles for this stage, but now he's itching for some better gear, and his wallet's a bit light. Then it hits him. He'll send the videos to Romeni and aim for hitting level 40. He's really looking forward to some beef ramen today. When Romeni checks out the footage, he's totally hyped, wondering if our guy has gone off the deep end. Seriously, he can't wrap his head around how he took down a higher level monster without taking a hit. The raw footage looks so solid that Romeni barely needs to do any editing. He even toys with the idea of titling it something wild about manhood kicking skeleton butt, but ends up settling on Emperor of Solo Play. At the Raiders Association of Bangsu, he rolls back to Ahimbri, claiming he's come back stronger, just like he promised. But Ahimbri hits him with some harsh truth, asking why he looks like he's been living on the streets, which catches him off guard. He brushes it off and goes straight for the reward. Ahimbri pulls out the promised item, and he wraps up the quest about Ahimbri's teachings. To his surprise, he gets a skill book on osteology, which is super rare for necromancers and totally not something you find on the market. It cuts down on the mana he uses for summoning and keeping his minions around, and he's really thankful for it. There's another prize too, the corrupted tracker's ring that Ahimbri crafted from that corrupted stone he brought back. With it, he can tap into some corruption powers himself, and wearing this ring boosts his stats. His mouth practically waters because this thing is rare and only given to the first players who finish the main quest. He's hyped and lunges for it, but Ahimbri yanks it back, saying he can't just give it away. He walks off, leaving him all confused, then turns back with some annoying vibe and challenges him to catch him if he can. He laughs and jumps into action, excited to chase him down. In the end, he grabs the ring and feels totally worn out, wondering what's up with that crazy old dude. He would have taken him out already if he wasn't just an NPC, but he gets the ring and his next quest. Ahimbri tells him to check out Suryu Castle. He's kinda annoyed but decides to cut him some slack this time. Since Suryu Castle is for higher level players, he figures he should level up on the way there. That's when he gets messages from Romeni saying there's something urgent. The golden skeleton video just dropped on YouTube, and it's blowing up with millions of views and tons of super chats because people think it's awesome. His earnings are going through the roof. He practically falls to the floor when he sees his account balance hit 8 zeros. All he can think about are tomahawk steaks and all kinds of beef, ribeye, filet mignon, strip loin. With this kind of cash, he can eat whatever he wants. His mouth is watering since this is way beyond jackpot territory. He knew it would get a good reaction, but not like this. He tells himself that freaking out isn't an option right now, and he needs to log off. Then he spots a wild super chat for $1 million. It's from the Thunder Hunters Guild, looking to recruit him. Yup, the same guild as that annoying following Seolion. They hounded him in his last life too, trying to drag him into their squad, and here they are doing it again. He wants nothing to do with Thunder Hunters. Even if it's a matter of life or death, he's not joining them. Seolion got on his nerves back then, and he still can't wrap his head around why she kept pushing after he shot her down countless times. His old teammates used to say he was lucky, since Thunder Hunters is one of the top guilds. They told him he could rake in a 6-figure salary if he signed up. They even said he was too good for them, since everyone in the guild raid videos was all about him. One guy called him amazing, but he played it cool and turned them down because he thought money would come once they became the best guild themselves. Meanwhile, those jerks were up to no good, agreeing with him. Looking back, he feels bummed out because they didn't need to screw him over like that. He gives himself a slap, realizing it's not the moment to freak out about money. There's way too much on his plate, and he can't get too comfortable yet. He decides to be smart with his cash, but he still feels the weight of everything he has to juggle. He calls in his minions, who aren't thrilled because they remember the last disaster. He had to do everything himself back then. He tells them it's training time again because they need to get their act together. He checks if they're up for it. As he trains them, flashes of his past life flood his mind. Those jerks never had his back. But this time, the minions stay cool and agree with total confidence. It feels different now. He wants to be the strongest alongside them. Their next stop is Tsuryu Castle, so he figures they should train on the way. The plan is simple. They're going to run the whole way there. If anyone lags behind, they'll get punished. The minions bolt like it's life or death, but the only one who's struggling is him. On the other side, that girl is just lounging around. Someone asks what's on her mind. Shiru is chilling on dragon corpses, while Hatch from the Thunder Hunters Guild chats with her. He mentions that it's almost time for the meeting, and asks how things are going with tracking down the corrupted count, but they still haven't found any leads for the next quest. He's pretty frustrated they let Hydra take the main quest line before them. He tells her they need to get it figured out soon since they're meeting with the leaders of the top 30 guilds. She couldn't care less about the meeting though. Hatch warns her to watch her back out there, jokingly calling her some kind of guild master. He drops his bag in front of the guy who loaned him money before, and pays off the entire principal and interest in cash. He thinks those jerks are finally out of his life. Then, he goes and splurges on some rare skill books, and just like that, he's broke again with a balance of 0 after having millions. He figured he was all set, but seeing his empty account hits him hard. So, he decides to shake it off and focus on learning the new skills he just bought. He opens the first book and gets skin crafting. This skill boosts his defense, so he decides to give it a shot. He absorbs the essence of a skeleton warrior, and his defense goes up. He pulls out his knife and cuts his own hand just to test it out. It works, and honestly, it's even better than he expected. One of his minions freaks out a little. He moves on to the next skill and grabs the Curse of Sloth. This one slows down his target's movements. Looking a bit puzzled, he turns to a minion and decides to try it out on his bonehead, thinking it could come in handy during a fight. Next up is the final skill, a golem summoning ability. This one's the toughest to get, and the one he's been really looking forward to. When he uses it, the ground cracks open, and he successfully summons this huge golem. He figures a necromancer isn't complete without golems, since they're much more reliable than any regular tank. The golem even has a scorpion mode that moves in sync with him. Combining its strength with his own moves could be super effective. He throws a punch to test things out, but nothing happens. He stands there, totally baffled, trying to figure out why it's not working. Frustration kicks in. He starts to think it's a glitch. But then the golem takes its sweet time and throws a punch of its own, catching him off guard. Seriously? This thing is supposed to be fast? He chuckles, scratching his head about what to do next. He feels pretty hopeless and thinks this game is a total cash grab. Meanwhile, a guild meeting is getting underway. Nurgle, the leader of the Ares Guild, kicks things off by thanking everyone for showing up. Shev from the Red Bulls is there, along with Berg from the Big Smiled Guild, and that one person from Thunder Hunters nobody really likes. They invited 29 guilds, but only 4 made it. Shev's feeling good about the turnout, though more than he expected. It's weird, since normally, the top 30 guilds and warlords are always at each other's throats, so a meeting like this doesn't happen often. The Hydra Guild figured out who the corrupt account is, and they're gearing up for a big raid next month. Shev thinks it's wild since no other guild was even close. He's convinced Hydra must have pulled off something major, but Berg is getting annoyed. He believes if Hydra grabs the corrupt account, they'll snag every future main quest, plus all the sponsorships and content. He tells Berg to chill out, saying if he's scared, he should just keep quiet. Berg isn't backing off. Shev jumps in to cool things down because this isn't the spot for a brawl. Nurgle points out that their arguing only helps Hydra, so he suggests they team up against Hydra. The 4 guilds that are here will agree not to fight until the corrupt quest is over. Until they finish with the corrupt account quest line, they'll share all info about it. He asks if anyone's against it. Shev isn't a fan of scheming, but he admits they don't have any other options. Nurgle points out that if they don't take down Hydra, they're all finished. The meeting wraps up, but the leader is pretty annoyed. After a shower, she feels humiliated over the fact that they can't even beat the Chapter 1 boss on their own and are relying on other guilds. She realizes there's not much she can do about it right now. If Hydra gets the corrupt count first, they're toast. So, she decides to lay low and wait for a chance to strike. She tells every guild member to keep an eye on Hydra and report any weird movements. She's dead set on snagging that corrupt count, no matter what. Meanwhile, at the Raiders Association of Tsuryu Castle, he feels pretty doomed by what he's hearing. Someone suggests he check out Boboru Forest, since Agent Migi went missing there. They want him to search the area for any clues. The thing is, Boboru Forest is crawling with level 70 monsters, and he thinks he'd just get wrecked if he went there now. But the guy insists that's exactly why they want the pupil of a Himbri to go. If he says no, he risks losing his status as the corrupt tracker, and that freaks him out. Now that he's outside, he feels totally lost, and is like, what the heck is going on? In his quest window, he's on the hunt for this missing agent, Migi. He's got some rewards to snag, but there's also a risk of losing his corrupt tracker title. That's a big deal, because if he loses that, he gets booted from the main quest line. Trying to tackle all those quests that were way above his skill level finally catches up to him. Usually, he wouldn't be able to finish them, but somehow he pulls it off and moves on. Now he's stuck with a quest that's meant for level 60 and up. He can't just abandon the main quest like that. But heading to the Boboru of Forest isn't an option either. Some minions are chatting about the Hydra Guild and the main quest line, and even the top 30 guilds are struggling to kick things off. They're curious about what happens to all the other ongoing main quests if they take down the corrupt count. Hearing this makes him smile. He realizes he doesn't need to head to the Boboru of Forest after all. Meanwhile, someone's been spying on the castle and thinks their mission is finally wrapping up. Watching the castle for hours is driving them nuts. Next to this minion is Natal, the 8th in command of the Hydra Guild. This guy thinks that after they get the rewards for taking down the corrupt count, the Hydra Guild is going to rank up for sure. But really, their job is just to keep an eye on the corrupt count's castle without slipping up or spilling any secrets. Pros know how to keep it cool. That's when someone jumps in and casually calls out to Natal. It's Kim's from Red Bulls, rank 3. She can't believe a Red Bulls member showed up here. The boss monster in these mountains is no joke, so he's around to take it down, and he wonders if that's why they're here too. She kind of agrees. Kim's then jokes around, asking if she needs to run to the bathroom because she looks all stressed. He gets up to bounce, brushing them off, and she's left fuming, yelling after him. He walks away all happy while she gets even angrier. He taps his kitty watch and tells his teammates the tip they got is legit. Meanwhile, Chev is hanging out with his girl, totally baffled. They got an anonymous tip about where the corrupt count is chilling, and she thought it was just some prank, but they still sent Kim's to check it out. He can't believe someone would share that kind of info for nothing. Chev thinks maybe the tip came from a Hydra Guild member with a grudge against their guild. Kim's reports that they are not in a position to be picky because they are about to lose everything to the Hydra Guild. Chev suggests they start a fight to buy time, but he also tells him to retreat for now. Since this is where the corrupt count's castle is, he is sure most of Hydra's forces are here. They can't afford to lose one of their main forces right now. Kim's can't help but feel a bit flattered by the compliment he just received. But out of nowhere, someone drops in from above and lands a heavy hit. Chev's taken aback. Kim's is alright, but it turns out they're not the only ones clued in on this situation. Princess Hahui from the Thunder's Hunter shows up, and she's not messing around. She's threatening him to spill the beans or face the consequences. Meanwhile, a bear is going nuts, squaring off against its golem in a wild standoff. The golem is all defense and can barely throw a punch because it's so slow. The skeleton minions are watching the whole thing like it's a movie, probably munching on snacks. On top of that, he checks his emails, certain there should be responses by now. The only way to wrap this up without going to Boboru Forest is to wrap up the quest by force. Right now, he's in Chapter 1 of Warlord's main quest line, called the Corrupt Count. Once that corrupt count is taken down, the chapter finishes, and all related quests will close automatically. He knows he'd have zero chance of beating the corrupt count on his own, so he's thinking it might be better to just jump to the next chapter. He really doesn't care who does it, he just needs someone to take it out. That's why he leaked info to several guilds, but he can't believe none of them have gotten back to him. Just then, he gets a pop-up saying the Hydra Guild's official channel has kicked off a live stream. On the other side, the golem gets smashed and falls apart. The bear's about to take it out when he jumps in and clocks the bear right in the face with one punch. He really needs to watch the live stream, so he tells everyone to quiet down. The stream kicks off with a Hydra Guild minion saying they're the first to figure out who the crooked count is, and they're planning a raid. They're about to drop the raid date, and he's sweating bullets hoping it's this month. When they finally give the announcement, he's left hanging on the edge. If you're still here, you clearly liked it, so hit like and subscribe. Tell us in the comments if we should do the next part or which manhwa to cover next. Until then, see you in the next video.